their jobs, and how do we retain talent in the industry? Well, one of the main reasons people leave jobs happens to be culture. They find they're in a toxic culture, or a culture that doesn't really care about them. It could be all about bottom line. There's nothing wrong with being about bottom line, but you can always make sure you have a good culture. Even a lot of companies who have great cultures have fabulous bottom lines, so they're not mutually exclusive. But culture is a big factor. Also not having empathy. A lot of them, remember, you spend most of your adult life working. Really you do. Think of it. You spend Monday to Friday and only a few hours at night at home, and then you sleep, and then you only have the weekends. And so most of your adult life is working. If you don't feel happy where you're working, and you don't feel there's empathy, if you have an issue at home to accommodate you, then people will leave, because that's very important to them. The third thing is, in order to keep people, it's about the manager. A lot of people become managers who are not good with people, and they are toxic. Most people say they leave because they're unhappy with their manager. And so many times people just get promoted to manager without having the right skills. So either you teach people the right skills, or you hire managers who have the right skills. But managers are crucial to keeping your talent. So one of the things I would suggest is make sure your managers all really have that empathy for their people, that they embrace the culture that's inclusive. And so those are the things, and as well as being inclusive with people who are different and making them feel that they're accepted, because they all have talent and much to give to a company. So the culture, the kind of manager you have, the empathy, and also they want a career path. They want to know clearly. If you don't have a clear career path, they will go to someone else who does have one. Because young person coming in, I mean, again, the boomers, they've already been on their career path. You don't have to worry about them. It's the young people that need to know where they're going. And if it's not clear to them, and if you don't have training to support that, then they're going to leave. How you create loyalty with employees, there are a number of ways you can do that, and most of them are not that complicated. First of all, the most important thing is your onboarding process. That's crucial. A lot of companies don't have a clear onboarding process. So somebody joins the company, they don't even understand the whole company. So I suggest that when anyone joins the company, that they get introduced to all the different departments so they understand it. The CEO should say hi. I do that in my company. Every person I hire, I have a team meeting with them, and I say hi to them and let them know my door's open. So one is to make sure they get to meet people when they are onboarded, that there's a clear onboarding process, that maybe the team take them to lunch. If you work in different offices, do a virtual lunch so they get to meet all their team members. Make sure you have a clear mentoring program. Who are they going to shadow? They need to be trained and shadow somebody for quite a few weeks in order to really know what they're doing. So one of the first things you need to do is really have a very strong onboarding process. The other thing you also need to do is make them feel this is their family, this is their work-home life, okay? And so to do that, you need to create events. For example, maybe once a month, your team has a get-together in the evening, and like at 4 o'clock, you leave work early if you're in the same place and have a get-together. If you're virtual, or have people go home and do a virtual get-together, make sure you recognize when people accomplish something. So you put it out, you should have a company intranet, where on that intranet you put out people who have done amazing things who you're congratulating. Somebody has a child, or somebody gets married. I mean, so you celebrate each other's events. So it shows that you care. If there's an opportunity to give a gift for some reason, you come up with like a gift procedure, and if it's for a birthday or it's for something special, and how many years they've worked at your company, a celebration for how many years. So there are a lot of things that you can do to make people feel like they're part of your team and part of your company. So, but on top of that, to keep people, again, it's going to be your culture, it's going to be the empathy, it's going to be the career path you give them, and making them know they're important, and crucial is to feel they have purpose. Without purpose, people just don't feel they're really accomplishing what they want. And some people say, well, this particular job doesn't really have purpose. I would say every job has purpose. You just have to figure out what that is and communicate that well. And the insurance industry, in my opinion, has purpose for everything because we're protecting risk. So even the smallest thing you do is what's protecting somebody's life, somebody's home, somebody's business. It's something that's important so that they can continue to do what they do. So communicating the purpose is so crucial to every job if you want to keep people. So COVID has definitely changed the expectation of workers when it comes to remote work. And it's changing back. And I think people are beginning to understand why it does. But the expectation was originally, oh, I love working from home, and everyone was working from home, and everyone was happy, and even companies were saying, wow, they're so productive working from home. That was the initial outcome of it. And that's because people weren't allowed to leave their home. So now they're understanding people were highly productive because they were home all day, and they couldn't, even at night, they worked day and night because they couldn't leave their house. Once COVID passed and people now could go out and go to the gym, go out to dinner, productivity dropped. And companies recognized that over the last 2 years, remote work productivity has dropped. They've also recognized over the last 2 years that young people are not getting mentored enough by working from home 100% of the time. So initially, COVID was, oh, everyone should be remote. We're never going back to working in an office. Whatever company is going to bring someone back to the office, all those employees are going to quit. And everyone believed that. But that's not true today. What's really happening now is more flexible work arrangements, where people are in the office. The average is probably 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week, mostly, and allow a Monday or a Friday off. But people recognize that you have to be in an office. One is because you need to mentor people. They need to be on a career path. You're not going to know who to promote, who not to promote, because you're not going to know your team, which means managers have to come in too, not just workers. But you have to accommodate a flexible work style. The other thing as a result of COVID is people became more aware of how much money they're earning. Salaries became a big question too. How much you paying me an hour? How much my annual salary? And as a result of that, salaries have increased. And in a sense, it forced the insurance industry to increase salaries, which is a good thing, because now we can attract more young people. Where we're competing, insurance industry is competing with young people going to industries that pay much better salaries than we do. And so raising that salary bar is definitely going to help attract young people in this industry. So I think the outcome of COVID, at the end of the day, happened to have been a good thing, because it now enables people and working parents to have some flexibility to be with their children, which is a wonderful thing. Having that kind of culture will help you keep people, because it's not always about salary. It's sometimes about the benefits I have for working for you. So having some flexibility, when you consider most people are working parents, this actually helps them in their life and will help you keep them. I think companies need to think differently on a number of levels about how to manage their workers. I think we have some old management constructs that we still work by. One of them I call the performance review, which I call a report card. Report cards are for elementary, junior, high school, and high school. I guess you still get, in a sense, a grade college, but it's like a report card, and it's at the end of the year for most companies. And by the end of the year, nobody remembers everything they've done anyway. The newer version of that is to have, and which really is important to employees because it makes them feel they're important, is to have a monthly one-to-one meeting with each one of your employees and talk about the goals for that month. What did they reach? What they didn't? What are the issues? And where do they need more coaching? Because otherwise managers are so busy that they forget to meet with each of their people. And so their employees feel disconnected. So I recommend, even though it's a little more work, but it'll create a relationship between the employee and the manager, and also the manager will know on a monthly basis how well the person is doing, and also what needs to be fixed or what new tools they need to give that person. So that's one thing. I also, so one is I get rid of the report card. The other thing is I a big fan of how you do personal time off. I think when you have the right people on the bus, it's about the outcomes. It's about the results. There are some people that take 5 hours to do almost nothing. And there are some people that take 1 hour to do what could be done that some people take 5 hours to do because they're very fast at what they do. And so I think you have to make sure you have the right person doing the job. And if some people need, your personal time off should be, you have some parameters around it, but you take what you need as long as you get your job done. And you don't take advantage of anyone, you don't take advantage of your team. So I think there needs to be some little more understanding about results, as opposed to just doing the regular routine of a job. People sometimes don't recognize that it's the quality of the work that's being done and the results that are being done, not how much time you might have put in. I mean, obviously people still have to work their week, but the focus should also be on what the results are as opposed to just getting the work done. And I also think that what I would advise is to be more inclusive. Have activities, for example, a charity build, which gives also your team purpose. So we do like a charity build, which also helps with team building, and it gives them something good to do and to give back. So there are ways that you can bring in things to make this more not just about work, but about doing good together. And because we spend so much of our life working, it should be fun. If there's no fun in what people are doing, they're going to get burned out and they're going to leave. You need to create things where there's fun. And even within work, it could have fun. I mean, we have a fun thing when we have our staff meeting. We have a thing at the end called Wavy Gravy, and people put up pictures of things. So if they went on a trip, or if they just had a grandchild, we'll see the baby, or if they did something fun, a hike or whatever. And some of them are amazingly talented in baking the lollipop, the cake pops, whatever, or cakes or whatever, and they put a picture in. Everyone gets to know each other from sharing things about them, and it makes it fun. Some of our people are musicians, and so you see they'll put in a video of them playing in a band. So you need to be able to weave in to work. Obviously, a very big company, you have to rely on your managers and HR to weave that in. If you're a small company, of course, the head of that company can weave that in, but companies should figure out ways to weave in fun activities that will make the whole team coalesce and want to work together. So how WAHVE is helping the insurance industry cope with the talent crisis is we have 2 talent solutions. Our main solution, which we built the company on, is helping our retiring insurance industry professionals continue to work in their retirement. Because the truth is, people aren't really retiring from work. They're really retiring from the office. 25, 30 years in the office, stressed. They're no longer on a career path. They've been there, done that. They don't want to do that anymore. They want to have flexibility. They may want to go to a warmer climate for the winter. They may only want to work 30 hours a week, not 40 hours a week. And they may not want to do that high-level job anymore. It's too stressful, a lower-level job. But they still want to work. And they don't want to be a greeter at Walmart. So what WAHVE does is it stands for Work at Home Vintage Experts. So we've been capturing our retiring insurance industry population so that we don't have this huge brain drain, qualifying them, and we contract them back out to insurance companies, retail brokers, wholesale brokers all across the country in every kind of position. We've placed over 4,000 assignments over the last 13 years. And it could be from a CSR to a sophisticated underwriter to even an actuary, an attorneys, HR people, any position in the insurance industry we qualify, and when you can't find talent, we give them back to you. And we actually have some of our WAHVEs who've been with us over 10 years still working. Because remember, most people retire, our average age is 64. And they're going to work at least another 10, 15 years, today especially, because they know the business. And today when people retire, they're technologically savvy too. They've already been using all that technology, so it's not even a technology issue, and they've all, they know how to work remotely too. So one way we help the industry is to keep our aging population in the industry continuing to work, to fill that talent gap and not to lose their institutional knowledge. The second solution that we released this last year is called talent acquisition outsourcing, and it's using, we created bias-free qualifying software exclusive within the insurance industry. So we have every skills table in the insurance industry. We also have soft skills, and we built a software that if you put in a job request and you have all these tables, hard skills, soft skills to select, and the applicant, when they come in through a job board, come through our application process and have the same tables, including cognitive assessments, personality assessments, and then they're scored. There's an algorithm that scores it against the job request. And then we also do the first initial blind interview to avoid any bias whatsoever. And then we'd give the client the 5 best scored, diverse candidate pool to hire. So you don't have to look at 100 resumes and worry about your bias, because you'll get the 5 most qualified scored against you. So now we're trying to help, using the software we created for our vintage contract workers, to help the rest of the industry do a better job, have a better methodology. They try to do a good job, but they don't have the methodology because, as we talked about in terms of the job boards, they're just scraping words and not qualifying. Our talent acquisition outsourcing does that, the software does that qualifying in a bias-free way, so that you only get to look at 3 to the 5 best that score against what you want. So that's the other way. The third thing we do is we also support all the not-for-profits in the insurance industry that recruit talent. So like Invest, the CPCU Society, we actually support them because we know it's so important to bring in the young talent, because we're all about helping the industry with talent. That's why I built WAHVE in the first place, is to really help the industry, because I understood that issue going back to 2007, and that's when I started WAHVE in 2010 to help solve that problem.